All right. Headed back out. Pray to fucking God I don't get rained on this time. Oh, that's funny. Fucking street sweeper did. All they always struggle to do right here because the road's uneven with that fucking gutter. So what I'm talking about, so the flat part between the base of the, alright, garage is good. Alright, so that flat part between the base of the curb and the road, the edge of the road and the base of the curb, that's your gutter. Because if you can tell, it's kind of hard to tell on camera. But roads are crowned. You know, they are crowned. You know, they have a curve to them. You know, compared to like the sidewalk here is flat. You know, laid flat. Hey, Grandpa. Grandpa's following me. So the road has got a curve to it. Keegan must be leaving. I left a little bit before he did. They curved the roads like that because of the, you know, water runoff, you know, so that you can get the water to run off the road so you don't have cars hydroplaning or, you know, getting stuck or flooded. You know, you don't have any flooding, cars don't hydroplane and crash. You know, it's to help shed water. That's why they do it. So I got stuck out in the fucking rain, so I had changed the battery. No, I started the video back up at Dollar Tree, you know, after I bought my labels and all that shit. Then that's when I realized that oh shit, little pile of shit. And that's when I realized that the battery was on the verge of being dead. You know, when I say a battery is dead, yep, it's going to work. I just seen his car. So when I say a battery's legitimate, you know, when I legitimately say a battery's dead, it's because it's getting low. Then I know I gotta charge that one. So then I changed batteries, and then that's why I said I got, oh yeah, my front brake's still fucking wet. That's how you can tell disc brake is, or the pads for disc brakes are wet. It's that sound. It's a fucking annoying. It's the only downfall I have with them, but for other than that, it's what it is. What it is. Damn, I can't see if I still got if my thing still stayed on. Nope. I'm one of the last few people that don't like e-bikes. it's true. I despise them. Because they're more, yeah, I mean, I could buy an analog fucking fat tire for the same price as a goddamn e-bike. And have half the fucking issues. You know, that's why I won't buy them, because they got 9,000 fucking issues. Because, alright, so alright, hear me out. So, you guys, I think, might have met my buddy Corey. He had that, I don't forget what it was, what brand it is. But he had that fat tire, that electric fat tire. And he loved it. He rode it everywhere. It wasn't a bad looking bike, but the fucking battery took a shit. And I said, you know, and I said it right in front of his mom, and I said, I'm not, you know, and this is how I said it. You know, like I said it to him, right to him, this is how I said it. I said it right to him in front of his mom. I was at work. And I said, I'm not trying to start nothing with you, bro. I'm looking out for you, your safety, and trying to help you save fucking money. And I said, how I say this, I'm going to apologize for it now. E-bikes are worth nothing in today's market. Yeah, everybody wants them and spends the fucking money to get them. Fine. But guess what? You're spending $2, $3, $4 grand on an e-bike that the battery's going to take a shit on in about 2-3 years. Because batteries only last about 3 years. I'm going to hit the corner and then I'm going to loop back through the little cross-section thing here. And I told him, and I understand why he's got the e-bike, so I'm not dogging him for having it. I'm not. But I told him, that's what happens when you buy everything that's electronic. Yeah, having electronic, you know, tools, electronic bikes, all that are great. They're nice. But in my eyes, they're not worth it. Because, like I said, the batteries only last about 3 years. 4 if you're lucky. And the reason why I say I understand why he has it is because of his knee. He tore a muscle or whatever it was in his knee, and it bugs him. So that's why he's got it. And I told him, you're gonna spend all this money on an e-bike that lasts 3 to 4 with a battery that lasts 3 to 4 years. Then you're gonna spend, you know, half of what the fucking bike was worth when you bought it brand new, if not a little bit more, for just the battery to replace it. He said, yeah, but a cheap one, you know, cheap Chinese one or whatever is gonna be about $600. I said, you know, I wanted to tell him, dude, that's good, great for you that you found a replacement battery, but generally these third fucking party batteries don't last as long as what the originals, you know, the battery that the bike came with, or, you know, the OE shit does. You know, if you go right from the factory, you know, from the manufacturer, you get the battery right from the company that made the bike, or the company that made that battery. I said, dude, you're lucky that you found one for that cheap, a battery that cheap. But if you want your OE, your original, which stands for your original equipment, you know, if you want your OE original stuff, it's going to be, I said, you're going to be spending double, if not triple, that $600 price range. You'll be, you know, you're going to be spending that $1,200 to $1,800 on a battery. And then, you know, for that same fucking price, you can buy a brand new bike for easily $1,800, if not, you know, $400 more. And I told him, that's why I won't buy e-bikes. That's also why I don't buy brand new. I mean, yeah, buying brand new is great, because then you got to get the warranty, you got this, you get that, you know, whatever. And all that. You know, I told him, yeah, because I told him, you know, that I bought this red bike. And I told him that I paid $700 for this bike. You know, I told him I spent, you know, I told his mom and him and his mom this. That I spent $1,400 in a matter of a year on 2 bikes. I could have just went out and saved, you know, $600 more and bought a brand new one. You know, I could have gotten another, you know, fat tire for $2 grand, $3 grand, whatever. He's like, but I didn't, because I know buying shit, you know, the good shit brand new is going to be worth a lot of money. You know, it's going to cost a lot of money. You know, this bike here is $2 grand. Then I gotta stick all the, you know, all the money in the aftermarket shit that, you know, like what I like. You know, my ODI grips, the good brakes, you know, all your anodized bolts, your aftermarket seats, your frame bags, seat bags, bottle cages, all that. You know, so that's why I, you know, most of the time I'm gonna go used. You know, yeah, I could have bought a brand new BMX bike, but no. Bought used, you know, sometimes it can get cheaper and sometimes you luck out. So he's like, and he goes and spends another $2 fucking grand on a goddamn e-cruiser, you know, electric cruiser bike. I'm like, dude, to each your own. I understand you want a bike to get around, whatever. Come in with me, whatever. But I told him having an e-bike, in my opinion, isn't worth it.